I'm Troy Thompson. Over the last 15 years, our family has worked hard to create a place we call the center of the universe. A place where our kids and someday our grandkids can come home to and laugh, have fun, learn how to work, pray, worship God, and be a place to celebrate life with all our friends. After a quarter century in uniform, I put away one set of boots for another, working on our acreage, improving the land, fixing some structures, and building new ones. We say, give back to the community, be useful, keep your hands calloused, and spread the gospel. This is a little place in a little state right in the middle of flyover country, from which cries out a voice in the wilderness to all who might want to listen, learn, and laugh along with us. This is our American dream. Hello, friends and neighbors, and welcome to Sunnyside. Man, I'm glad you're here with me today, whenever it is or wherever it is that you happen to be listening. Thanks for doing that. I am very happy to say that today I've got a special guest. He's come from a long ways away, about, a half mile maybe down the road from where I live. I've talked about him on and off because I've mentioned these things involving flax and some of those things that I've brought up. And so now in the studio with me today, I've got none other than John Kirchener. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hi, John. Welcome to Sunnyside.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, earlier this spring, I was out mowing my lawn, and this truck pulled in, and I thought, what's this? What's this now? So it was you, and you got out, and I think your daughter was with you at the time, I think,
Yes.
and then you introduced yourself and said, hey, I'm John Kirchener. I'm just down the road at Fingers Campground, and thought I'd introduce myself. And so then we had a conversation, and that kind of went from one conversation to several conversations, and then we ended up you planted flax, and then we baled it up finally here just a little bit ago. So I want my audience to get to know you and your story. I find it interesting, and I think you're a perfect fit here for the sunny side of life as we talk about pursuits that make us happy. And so we're going to talk about that. First of all, where are you originally from?
I'm from Mankato, Minnesota.
Okay.
Born and raised. We took a little detour in life down to Florida.
Yeah.
When I was third and fourth grade. And then we moved back to Minnesota.
All right.
Back where family was. And yeah.
What took you to Florida?
Just to get away.
Yeah?
Yeah. My mom and her husband at the time, there was nothing tying them here. So they said, let's go down Florida.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Where at in Florida?
Fort Myers Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. We were right on the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Gulf.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
And how old were you when you were in Florida?
Third grade.
Okay.
So whatever that.
Sure.
Who knows how old that is?
Yeah. I forget.
10, maybe 9. I don't know.
Somewhere in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we moved back home, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Moved around a whole bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And graduated from Mankato East
Okay.
School. Yeah.
And what was their mascot?
The Cougar.
The Cougar. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I assume if there's an East, there's a West?
Yeah. Bitter rivals.
Bitter rivals, I
course.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were they? What are they?
Scarlets.
The what?
Scarlets.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Cougars.
Well, yeah. Who even knows what a scarlet is?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody still does.
Right. Frankly, my dear, I don't give it.
Nobody
Yeah.
does.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. And so then you graduated from Mankato East,
Right.
and then what? You go to college?
I joined the Army.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I was Army Reserves,
Okay.
and I went straight to basic and then AIT right out of high school.
Where did you go to basic training?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fort Jackson. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then Fort Lee, Virginia, for to be a cook,
Yeah.
Army cook.
And a lot of people don't know, but I guess I don't know what the civilian population thinks Army cooks are, or what training goes into that. But it's the real deal. You have to be
legit.
able to cook for a whole lot of people, and it's not just making food, you have to. There's all kinds of other things that cooks do as well. That I mean, that are kind of, I know that like somehow there's inspections that are like meat inspections, food inspections. That all falls under the 92 series, which is what you guys were, right? 92 golf. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
It's
did
legit.
you?
It's a real deal.
Yeah, you learn how to be an Army chef,
Yes.
and they have competitions for that.
Oh, for sure.
Did you ever do any of the competitions?
I did not.
No. Okay. And what made you want to be a cook?
No idea. I like to cook.
Yeah.
Just like to cook. Yeah. I actually called my dad up when I was up at MEPS, and they said, hey, you got to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
What do you want to be when you grow up, basically, right?
Yeah.
I was 17.
Yeah.
Right? Early into the Army. And I called my dad, and he says, I said, Dad, I don't know what to do. He says, well, do what you like.
Yeah.
I said, well, what if I suck at it?
Yeah.
He says, John, if you like what you do, you're going to try hard.
Yeah.
And you're not going to suck at it.
Yeah.
And then, so that's the direction I went. When I got back, I went to culinary school, South Central College.
Okay.
Cato, yeah.
So you continued that.
Continued on to be a chef, yeah.
Was that inspired by what you learned at Fort Lee?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
And did that come in handy, I assume, or?
Yeah, my entire career has been culinary.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Kitchen manager, chef.
Yeah. So you did you know you were going into the reserves, like
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So reserves 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks typically, usually in the summer, not necessarily always.
Mm-hmm.
The reserves are federal. So for my listeners that don't know, they know that I was National Guard, which is also a reserve element of the Army. So same training, same advanced training, all of those things. Speak the same language, wear the same uniform. Differences are in the two reserve elements is that one is federal, which is what the reserves are for the Army. Same thing with the Marine Reserves, the Navy Reserves, Air Force Reserves, so on and so forth. And then the National Guard has two elements, which is the Army and the Air Force. So you have an Army and an Air National Guard in each state, and then the three territories in the District of Columbia. And there's the Army fully controls the reserves, and then the National Guard obviously is controlled by the Army as well. However, there's the governor of each state in between. Then so they have a slightly different role in each state, but on the whole, you still had you were probably doing 39, 40 some days a year, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer type deal. How does that work out? I think it was like, is it 39 days or 40 days or something like that it actually is a year after you're done with your training. And then you're going to school. And where was that again?
For the Army or?
No, for
North Mankato.
In North Mankato. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. And so, and is that a couple of years or?
Correct.
Okay. Yep. And then from there, was your unit in Mason, or was it in Mankato, or were you somewhere else?
It was Mankato, yeah.
Okay.
67th Engineers.
Okay.
Mankato. Mm-hmm.
All right. So you were in an engineer unit.
Right.
Engineers love being engineers.
Oh, yeah.
They love it. I have lots of friends who are engineers, and they'd love to tell you about it, all that stuff. Did you get to do anything cool? Like, did you ever go out with them, or was it all, you were actually cooking? Did you actually cook for them?
Well, I cooked in the reserve unit.
Yes.
When we were mobilized.
Okay. Yeah.
First Sergeant Tharrelson said, Kirchener, you're not cooking.
Okay.
Do you want to be my driver?
There you go.
I said, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then I became his driver, bodyguard, whatever, and I was told I needed to learn commo.
Okay.
Right? So I could operate the radio
Yeah.
efficiently for him. And yeah, so Sergeant Anderson told me everything I needed to know, and
yeah,
I worked with him, and it was good. Yeah, I learned how to do radio.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of doing right now. A little bit
in a Humvee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I got to drive a Humvee around everywhere, to do all of the training exercises. And then the second deployment we had was actually to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes, talk about that a little bit. So what year was that?
Oh, boy. I came home in 2005.
Okay.
So I was there for a year and a half in country.
Yeah.
Yeah. 21-month deployment total.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, yeah, we were in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin to train to go to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
You know, our mission was to clean up Bagram initially.
Okay.
And yeah, basically minesweep.
Yeah. With the engineer unit.
Correct.
Right. Now, were they mechanized, or were they heavy, or how did what type of equipment did that particular engineer unit have? Because some of them are using they call them, I think, the dog bones or whatever. They roll in front of, heavier equipment like tanks and things like that. But this was a lighter unit.
Yeah, they were doing ground probing,
Mm-hmm.
With a little stick in their hand.
Yeah.
They had the flails.
Yeah.
On the drums.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
And so
they were building too. They were doing buildings.
What were they doing? What were they building?
With prisons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Help them make things safer.
Yeah. And so you were at Bagram.
We were in there early, yeah.
Yeah. And that time we'd been in Afghanistan if you were there, you probably went there in 2003 and got back in 2005, you said, or something like that.
December of 5. Yeah.
You got back okay, so all of 4 and then part of 3. Yeah. Yeah. And so at that point we'd been in Afghanistan for a little over a year when you got there.
It was early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were there when it was really kind of the Wild West.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we had a lot of mortars.
Yeah.
A lot of rocket attacks.
Yeah. And not as many. We hadn't been seated there as an army, like when we pulled out. I think in 2021 or something like that. And by that point, it had very much changed. And the Army has a way of making people. You weren't there when people were necessarily wearing the PT belts all around and everything like that.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
It was, yeah, for sure. And things were going on. Wow. So, when you enlisted as a 17-year-old, did you, how old were you when I guess you went to Afghanistan?
I'd have been 23.
Okay. So you'd been in for a while,
right,
and doing your thing. And then obviously 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And what did you think about that?
Yeah, it was something, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew the world was going to change.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
A lot of things changed.
And your unit went to Afghanistan, and I guess did you ever think when you were 17, you're like, well, I'm not probably gonna have to do anything.
I was like, I'm a weekend warrior. I get cool outfits, and get to drive around, Humvees and whatnot, and never thought.
So like you must have got in, so like around 98, somewhere in there. Okay, so in that time frame, and then you came back from your training, and did you finish your culinary school prior to 9/11?
Oh boy, I don't know about that.
Okay,
I had 2 classes left to finish, so
okay.
Technically I'm a college dropout.
All right.
I had intro to computers, and I think it was employment search skills.
Okay.
And then I could have that degree. So I guess
you were missing employment search skills?
I was, yeah.
But when you came back from Afghanistan, did the Army run you through all of their not discharge stuff, but
here's how we can help.
Yeah, here's how we can help you find a job.
Life. Yeah, no. Yeah. No, actually, so when I was in Bagram, there was the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
They were there too.
Okay.
Sergeant Brian Peters, he was also a cook.
Mm-hmm.
And he happened to be stationed over in Kabul. And he said, hey, John, if you wanted to cook, I've got an opportunity. So I said, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I went with him over to Kabul and worked with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
Where then my contract with the Army had expired while I was in country. So when I was supposed to be going home, the Army Corps of Engineers said, hey, we want to pay you to stay as a civilian.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was an opportunity. I thought, well, okay. So I went home, took a week, to get out of the military and then get
a whole week
back into the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
And go back as a civilian.
Okay.
And I grew my hair, grew my beard.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had the opportunity to work with a couple of the engineers there. We were moving into it was called Kala Compound. And just down the street from Karzite's Palace.
Yeah.
And I got to work with the engineers to design a kitchen.
Okay.
For their new compound. So pretty cool.
Yeah. And how long did you do that for the Army Corps of Engineers?
6 months.
Okay. All right.
That was enough.
That was enough. And you could, was it like a contract thing where you say, okay, it's 6 months, or was
it? No, it's a government job.
Yeah. Okay.
GS9.
Okay.
What I was. And so, yeah, I made great money.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any guns.
Okay.
Yeah. And through the years of new soldiers coming through, they were getting younger and fresh, I guess. And that whole year that we were there with the engineers, we didn't lose anybody.
Yeah.
So, the mountain division that came in to replace us.
10th Mountain?
10th Mountain, yep. They lost a few within the first month of being there.
That was my first duty station.
Was it?
10th Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't getting any better. It was getting, the situations weren't improving. So, 6 months was long enough. I said, I'm going to go home.
Okay.
And they said, well, John, you could stay here and then you're locked in. You stick around and if you work this job for a year, you go home as a GS9. And I said, well, that's great. But if I don't make it home, then what?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that was it.
Right.
Money's not everything.
No. And were you still in the reserves, or had you ETS'd at this time?
Yeah, I was done.
You were all done.
A full civilian.
Okay. Yeah. So 98, 2005, 6 years, probably longer than probably had a 6-year contract, so a couple of years on your MSO, but you didn't have to do anything. And so then did you go back to school, or did you go back to Mankato after that?
I was, back to Mankato.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I do? I became a catering supervisor.
Yeah.
Well, back up.
Okay.
I worked as a loan officer.
Oh,
right.
Very similar. Yes.
Yeah. Left field. So I became a loan officer.
Okay.
I thought, well, I don't know if I want to keep cooking. Well, sitting at a little desk trying to sell people a loan mortgage over the phone. Not ideal.
No.
So I went back and I became a catering supervisor.
Okay.
For MSU at Mankato.
So how'd that go? So you're in Mankato. You're living in Mankato, the University of Minnesota, Mankato. Great school, big school. Yeah. Is it like 15,000 somewhere around there? I think somewhere in that.
Couldn't tell you.
In that range.
It's big.
It is. Yeah. Good size, good football team. I know that. And not too far away from where we are now. It's hour 15. Yeah. Yeah. My wife Heidi graduated from Mankato. So that became a little bit of a sticking point when our two older boys went and played for Upper Iowa, and then we'd have to go and lose to Mankato, once a year. But
sure.
But yeah. So, and actually, my brother-in-law went to Mankato as well, graduated from up there. So you were there, so. I would love to know how that interview went. So the opportunity came in and you saw it. So you threw your hat in the ring. You obviously got the interview.
It's a funny story.
Right. They're like, how much? You're a cook. I'm like, yeah, I'm a cook.
Right.
I was a cook in the Army.
Yeah.
It's like, did you cook for a lot of people? I'm like, well,
yeah.
Don't worry about that. I mean, I did a lot of driving, learned how to have some commo. We built a kitchen.
Yeah. A new contract was just granted to Sodexo. So it's a food contract. Yep. And I knew somebody who worked there. And they're like, oh, yeah, there's positions available. You should definitely apply for it.
Yeah.
I applied, and I was denied. And the operations manager at the time said, this guy can't be real. He's 24? Maybe.
Yeah.
He says, there's no way he's done everything that's on his resume.
Yeah.
He said, it's bogus. He said,
really?
We're not hiring him.
Didn't believe it.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so keep in mind, I had been making really good money as a Army Corps of Engineers employee overseas pay.
Yeah, yeah.
And the job I was applying for was $11 an hour.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Right. A little different from GS9. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
The catering director at the time, Jessica, she said, Aaron, I need this guy. I don't care if he's completely truthful on his resume. I need somebody.
Yeah.
Okay? So they hired me. Within weeks, they fired her. And said, well, good luck. We'll try to hire somebody else to replace her.
Yeah.
In the time being, let us know if there's anything you need. I'd never done catering.
Right.
I had no idea what I was doing. So
was catering different than like feeding the students in the dining facility or
totally different.
That's different.
Yeah.
So then what would the catering
Weddings.
be?
This is all weddings.
Oh.
Conference room.
Okay.
Buffets.
All right.
Coffee, donuts, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big gala.
Okay.
Fundraisers. We spent a lot of time at the president's house.
Okay.
Yeah. Glenn Taylor, a few different events with him there.
All right.
So, totally different things,
Yeah. Go
from cooking to overseeing the operations of everything else.
How many people did you have on your staff that you were managing?
I had two full-time people.
Okay.
Right? An office person and then a supervisor and then students.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had all student staff.
Right.
So I leaned on the students who had been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
For my first year. And it was almost a whole year of just me without a catering director. Right. And they say, well, you know what, John, you should probably put an application in.
Oh, convenient.
To be the director.
Yeah.
Right. So I did. And they gave me the position, or I earned the position.
Yeah. Right.
So I earned the position.
There you go.
So 15 years as catering director.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With and I got to imagine that the experience that you had the Army had to help with some of that. I mean, if you're managing kids, college kids, you're just applying some of those skills that you probably learned in the Army a little bit about, with young soldiers too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No difference.
It's a struggle, You have to be conscious of why they're there. They're not there to be a catering
right
director. They're there to make a little money while they're going to school. And so we ran a lot of events short staffed because of that. They're like, I got to study. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So it was, a few years in there were pretty struggle-ish, I guess.
Got it sorted out. How long did it take you to get it, or did it never really change?
Never. It's a revolving door.
Right.
The students are there for real.
Right.
I mean, they're there for 3-4 years.
Right.
Some of them, and they're not working for you the whole time.
Okay.
Right. They'll work for a couple years, and then they'll find something else, or they'll get a internship. Right.
Yeah.
Something more in their field, and new staff every single year. Almost every semester, it seemed like we were getting more staff in.
Yeah, but you got to learn. I mean, all of the things that I've ever done in the variety of careers that I've had have, at the time, is like, well, I don't think that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and it really probably wasn't. However, it all adds up to making a pretty resilient employee, whatever it is that you happen to be doing. So they have to learn how to hustle and take orders and be organized and practice customer service and look professional and be punctual and all of those other things that are expected in whatever job that they go on to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I have the pleasure. Let me back up. I have the pleasure of doing that with my wife.
Okay.
But she's not as receptive as the students were when I tried to, hey, do you see what time it is?
Okay. Yeah.
So I have to try to dial it back now.
Yeah, right.
That we're in the situation we are in.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't take my management.
Yeah.
as well as the students did.
It's funny. It's funny how that works out.
I know. Who'd have thought?
Oh, I tell
I
you.
think everybody, right?
I mean, look, I don't know how many times I have to tell her, look, I'm the boss. I think you know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's obviously
That
doesn't work out very good at all. Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. So you got let's talk about your family a little bit. There, you already said you're doing this job for 15 years. That takes you just a couple of years ago, really. And so, when did you get married, and when did all of this happen? And
So I met my wife, and it was during Christmas break, and so we've been married 5 years, and we were only engaged or together really for about a year.
Okay.
Prior to getting married. Yeah. So we got together during Christmas break from MSU. And by Thanksgiving the following year, I had this elaborate proposal.
All right.
I had her whole family involved. Everybody had a rose. They were all in the basement of her aunt's house. Each rose had a little I promise to.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is a catering director.
I
mean,
mailed this. Yeah, I mailed it to her aunt. Right?
Okay.
And said, hey, I need your help.
Yeah.
And I said, I need you to pick up roses. I need you to fasten these to them, have everybody in the basement. Here's how it's going to go, right? So Denise went downstairs, and I'm like, I'll be right down there. And, Grandma gives her the first rose, and she's looking at it, reading it, and she had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And I'd snuck around to the back of everybody. And by the time everybody had given her a rose, she was onto it, right?
Okay.
And then I gave her the final roses.
Right.
With the proposal.
Nice.
And she said yes.
Yeah, that worked out.
It was good.
Different kind of podcast.
Yeah.
It's like we had so many more roses. To go out and get more roses, make more promises. There was a negotiation. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good.
That's great.
And then, she ended up pregnant. We had our daughter at the beginning of COVID.
Okay.
Right. So I was home with them right when she was born. And I had, my 2 weeks at home.
Yeah.
And I was about to go back. And
right.
My boss calls me and says, John, we're not doing catering. We have no idea what's going on. So just come get your computer. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Right. So I ended up having 5 months at home.
Yeah.
With my newborn.
Like a French dad.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great.
That is great.
Absolutely a dream come true.
Yeah.
And when we had to go back to work, it was miserable. I could say I was honestly depressed. And to not see my baby and my wife after having that much time together.
Yeah.
My heart couldn't handle it. I said, this isn't good. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
And my wife, she says, well, John, this is what everybody does.
Yeah.
Said, honey, I'm not everybody.
You're right.
I'm not. And we, through the summer, we talked and we did a lot of camping, right? We had a fifth wheel and we start traveling and hitting up the state parks and,
a lot of people were camping in that time, getting out and seeing nature and
right.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Right. Yeah.
You can't go in.
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
Besides all the death part, there was, a lot of, there were interesting side effects. Yeah.
Right. So we were camping and we were just going, gosh, this campground sure could use this. And, oh, well, what about this? We could do that. And ultimately we were at a KOA, right? Up in Michigan, the Sault Ste. Marie area, right? And they were just packed in. The campers, you could hardly put your slide outs out. And I said, this is ridiculous. We're paying X amount for a site and you can't even enjoy it. Right? I'm like, we should buy a campground. And Denise, she's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Well, in the meantime, I had trying to come up with all of these other ideas. What else can we do?
Yeah.
So that I don't have to leave every day.
Yeah.
Go to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And ultimately she said, okay. So I start looking into it. I said, how can we buy a campground? And I found this one here in Forest City. And I made an appointment and sat down with David and Paula. I walked in, I says, does this feel like a first date to you guys too? Because I am so nervous, right?
Yeah.
And we sat for 3 hours just talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was absolutely amazing. By the time we were done, they said, we would really like you to buy our campground.
Great.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
I said, well, I'd like to,
Yeah.
but I'd like for you to meet my wife and daughter. It was just one at the time. And so we set up another meeting. Another 3 hours later, they're all hugging.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I think we're buying your campground.
Right.
So, that was 3 years ago.
That's awesome.
This is Memorial Weekend 3 years ago. We came to Forest City and start living, a legit dream.
Had you ever been down to the Forest City area from Mankato, even though it's about 70, 75 minutes away?
Yeah, I had no idea.
No. Is it? Do you think? Do you think that? So I think first of all that most men at some point in their life say, "I'm going to own a bar." Do you think that for most Minnesotans at some point they're like, "I'm going to own a campground or a resort"?
Right? Yeah, a resort.
Yeah,
but usually they go north. Right?
Yeah,
it's like, I need the pine trees. I need walleyes. Whatever.
Yeah. Walleyes are nice.
Same thing.
Right.
People, when we told them, hey, we're going to buy a campground in Forest City, Iowa, they said, where? Why? What?
Right.
What does Forest City have to offer? Right.
Yeah.
I said, well, we've actually got a pond.
Yeah.
We have 20 acres of water.
Yeah.
I said, wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It is great.
So, yeah.
And so talk about David and Paula. So Paul, I think that was her dad, wasn't it, that had started it. And so Lauren Aukus is the person that started Three Fingers. And Three Fingers Campground, that was his vision. He put a tremendous amount of work into it, which is what you're doing now, obviously, as you continue to develop and expand. It was interesting to watch. I grew up on this road, lived here my whole life, except for when I didn't and I was somewhere else in the country or the world or whatever. But I can tell you that it was just a cool thing to see because I recall as a kid, those were just gravel pits,
right?
And older gravel pits. We call them Winnebago pits, in fact. So or that might have been
Otis Ponds.
Otis Ponds, yeah, that was Otis, and then Winnebago was across. But there's a finger of gravel that runs from what we call Sunnyside, which is what our farm is. So it stretches from kind of that southwest corner all the way, through where you're at, probably to the creek,
Sure.
And so that was all. Not really developed. And since that time, they've turned these gravel pits into really nice ponds, camping ground. The firefighters, the local firefighters are across the road from you guys.
Right.
They've got a little corner of one of the Winnebago pits, and then I know the folks that on the other side of the road as well, and they've got some. It's just a kind of a cool, strange little neighborhood, but it's really very nice over there and very busy.
It is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A lot of you talk about how busy that KOA was when you're up in Michigan, and my wife has been working in the RV industry for almost 30 years, and so since 2020, that's exactly what happened. People couldn't go to hotels. They weren't going to the all inclusive resorts, and everything was shut down. So they started RVing and camping and going all over the place. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years as people start to shed their campers a little bit, because for a while, the business was booming. Then everybody was building and buying RVs. And then, of course, at some point, people are going to, offload those. And so, there'll be an interesting economy. But the same thing, was said. Heidi told me, there's you can't find, it's very difficult to find places to camp because they are still very full. And I know that they have apps for all of that. And, if you're traveling, then, you're trying to find these places. So are most of your spots though, they're long-term?
Right. Yeah. We have 121 seasonal sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 9 of them we have for short-term sites, which a lot of people come in for Winnebago.
Right. Well, you do have that.
Yeah,
What's in Forest City, the home of Winnebago Industries?
Winnebago. Yeah.
And every year, and I hope they keep doing this. They've been doing it for 50-some years, but they have the RV, the Grand National Rally, and so lots of RVers come in early and stay a little bit longer and all of that. Yeah.
It's awesome. And CDI.
Right.
Yeah.
To paint the units.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we get a lot of business.
Yeah.
I'd say the majority of it is from those 2 places.
Oh, I believe that.
Which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's number one thing, campgrounds is Monday to Thursday. What's the draw?
Right.
Whereas that's what we've got.
Yeah.
CDI and Winnebago.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. We've been, very much enjoying it.
So why is it called Three Fingers? Did they ever explain that to you?
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to just guess, right? Back when Lauren was creating this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do know that he enjoyed drinking. He enjoyed a beer here and there with the campers and whatnot. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna venture to guess that if you remember, you'd go in and say, "Give me 3 fingers of whiskey," right?
Okay.
Is that?
I have never thought of that before. That is probably correct because I've been looking
I'm
at
saying.
the map and I'm like, well, are there like 3 fingers that stick into the pond, like
No.
isthmus type structures, where people camp? And he's like, well, there's 3 fingers, and then there's ponds around that.
Well, yeah. There's 4 actually.
That's what I couldn't figure out.
right. And then the middle that connects the 2, there's a tunnel through it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no.
And 4 Fingers is not the good name for a campground.
No,
4 Fingers is not. That's too much whiskey.
that's too much.
And if you got 5 fingers, you just might as well call it a hand.
Right? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that is probably correct.
I'm gonna go with that.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but I knew Lauren. So, could be.
It could be. Could be.
He loved rolling around on his golf cart or whatever it was that he drove into, something like that. And he would visit
Yeah.
with every one of the campers, and that was just, he just loved being social. And
Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Right.
He had retired. He had the pretty successful lawn care business, and he had sold that and then went into this, and people thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
And now,
yeah.
now look at it. Yeah.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes up, 3 Fingers. Your campground is not, doesn't touch our family land. We're separated by a couple of acreages, and that's about it. I think there's an acreage to the north and 2 acreages to the west, or 3 acreages to the west, I guess, and another gravel pit.
Another gravel pit. Yeah.
Any thoughts about that? Like that I don't know what that even. Have you ever wandered over there to see what that new gravel pit looks like?
Oh yeah.
Maybe there's like,
It's about 70 acres.
that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's active.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're pulling out of there all the time.
Yeah. They're trying to get rid of what's on the ground right now.
Yeah.
So they can dig underneath that.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something that
Yeah, there's room for expansion there.
we'll have to see what the future brings.
Right. But the market seems to bear. You've added campsites, like when you said 126, and plus 9, or is that right?
121.
121
plus 130.
Okay,
total.
but that's not what it was when you bought it from David and Paula.
Right.
How many did it come with then?
Well, I added 22 sites.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
for people to know what that means, like what type of infrastructure are you adding for that?
yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
We had struggles with the DNR, engineered drawings for sewer systems with, water. Natural water sources is important, right? So sewer systems is a huge thing that needs to be 100% correct.
Right.
A lot of permits, so we had to get the sewer systems. We had to do gravel pads, gravel roads, a lot of infrastructure, water lines, like I said, sewer lines, sewer systems. We have 3 separate drain fields.
Yep.
For these 22 more sites.
3 more for the 22.
Right.
Ah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So
And I wasn't going to brag, but I was like, well, I got 3 leach fields.
yeah. So I think we're up to 6 now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then we had to tap into the well, and yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I had bought a little C60 dump truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I ran that thing, and I had 4.5 ton per load,
Yeah.
and I made 900 feet of road with a roundabout, and a little quarter yard bucketer on my Kubota. To fill the
Oh man, yeah.
foot box behind the International. So it was a long process,
Yeah.
but you got to do what you got to do with what you got.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
But that is getting back to the whole reason for doing it in the first place. You wake up in the morning, you're with your family,
Yeah.
you're going to work with
Yeah,
your family,
Yeah.
and
We
you're
made breakfast.
determining your own direction,
Yes.
what you're going to do every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. That's the best part of what I got going on,
Yeah.
and I completely identify with that. The
That's
idea that you can, be available to your family is
Yes.
great. Yeah. Without being a farmer.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to be a farmer.
Well, that's right.
You'd probably laughed if you saw me planting that flax.
I didn't see you plant it.
I'm sure a lot of people laughed.
I
if
saw
they
you tilling it up.
Well, I was pulling a spreader hopper thing behind a lawnmower.
Yeah. 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 You told me that. Yeah. I didn't see you work it in after you'd seeded it. Yeah.
6 acres with that, and then a 6-foot tiller behind the Kubota. And
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. Look,
do
I
it.
know.
just make it happen.
When I did the hayfield, I told you this. Same thing. Whatever that tiller is on the back of the tractor, 5-6 feet wide or whatever it
Right.
is, 7 acres.
Yeah.
I mean, just like put on some podcasts because you're going to be out there for a while. I felt like old time farmer,
Right.
With a ton of but those tillers are great. They just really they just pulverize it and make it beautiful. And then you went out and then you broadcast. Did you try to drill or did you broadcast everything? You broadcast everything, didn't you?
I had hired a gentleman to do the CRP,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I said, "Well, since you're here, let's see if we can do this."
Yeah.
He put some flax in there, and he went as quickly as he could to where I needed it planted
Yeah.
because it was just pouring out because it's such a slippery little
It is. That's tiny.
So yeah, we tried to, right?
Yeah.
but it didn't happen. So we ended up broadcasting it,
Yeah.
but it worked.
Yeah, it did.
So it's fun.
You had
Yeah.
I apologize for saying, well, I would plant flax.
Yeah.
And because I would still plant flax.
Yeah.
And I just found it a very interesting process. Wish we could have figured out a better way so that we could have harvested it and see what you were left with, for your yield. I had read that it's only like 4 to 11 bushels per acre. So you wouldn't have come out with maybe a trash can or 2 of flax.
Oh wow.
But it would have been interesting to see, what you could have done with that. And if because I'm interested in, the byproducts that you can create for yourself, and it makes great oil. It's very healthy. It's a great, and then I've seen it where they take those seeds and then I was just watching something the other day actually, because I'm still kind of fascinated with this whole flax thing. And they had the flax seed and they just put it in like a coffee grinder or a little Ninja or whatever. And then they would just add that to their food in different capacities because it does have kind of a unique flavor. It's good. And the oil is very healthy and good for cooking and also good for sealing wood. Linseed oil has been used for centuries as a way to just seal wood with that, or treat wood. So
Yeah.
I was very interested in that. And it was like, how are we ever going to get this? How are you going to get that out? We had a guy, I thought we had him lined up. Ted, I'm talking about you. So but didn't happen. So just ended up
Next
bailing
year.
it.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
He's on retainer for next year.
He's on. Is that right?
All right. Yeah, I already told him. I says next year you be available.
Yeah.
when we're ready.
And probably spray it. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Check with the Albert Lee Seed House when the time to do that is because I think that was the again, I apologize. I said, yeah, I would grow flax, but I didn't know anything about it besides, you get about a month of flowers and it looks cool and it's different and it's good byproducts in a couple of different ways. Yeah. So now you got about 315 straw bales, flax straw, that folks, if they want a good bedding for their animals, you probably should get in touch with John over there at Three Fingers because you've got that stuff. And it is pretty cool. It is a pretty neat product, and we'd pull it apart a little bit, and you can see the linen, the flax strands or whatever. It's very interesting.
It is
interesting to the point where I would say, I'd really like to. Like I've watched all these videos, and
now we got to do more.
It's like
more with it.
Yeah, gonna make your own linen shirts.
Yeah, something.
One, it's like, all right, we got all this linen. Now what do we do? Well, now you gotta weave it. Ugh. All right.
Yeah.
This is a little winter project for you.
Right.
And you built a house.
We built a house. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're there 5 weeks now, I think. It's been
fully moved in for just over a month.
Fully moved in.
Great.
It's fantastic. Everything's on one level.
Yeah.
We're very, very happy to be, spread out.
Yeah.
The girls love it.
You still got a garage to build? Is that right?
Yeah, we've got more to go.
Yeah, always something to do.
A shed, yeah.
Yeah.
We're here, so we've got a bit of time, hopefully.
Yeah.
So it's been eventful, 3 years now. Like I said, we did the expansion.
Yeah.
Done other things, all in all, I've planted about 1,000, a little over 1,000.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, what better to go to than a campground that has shade?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, I didn't know. I mean, they have over the 3 owners, including yourself, in the last 30 years or however long it's been. I don't know if it's been 30.
Yeah.
30 years. It's really grown up, and the trees have. That makes a huge impact for sure. Yeah. Used to be that you could drive down A42 and see exactly what everybody was doing because there were no trees or not very tall trees on the south side. And now you don't know what's going on over there. Yeah, what happens at Three Fingers stays at Three Fingers.
It's a secret. Yep. Secret club.
So what is the demographic of your campers then? Is it pretty varied, or is it young or old or everything in between?
It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have, what did we do? We figured up we got a little over 100 children.
Wow.
In the campground. Yeah. On the weekends.
That's great.
We have, I think, 5 full-time people that live in the camper all summer, and then they winter in Texas.
Okay.
So there's somebody there, in the campground all school or all through the year. It's nice.
Weekends are obviously the biggest.
It's busy.
Yeah.
So we typically mow on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday is busy.
What do you have to do? What do you guys do? I mean, on a weekend like that, are you putting out fires? Hopefully not literally.
Try not to. Yeah, we try not to. We have a great group of people that live with us, and the majority of them have been there for long enough that they consider it a home.
Yeah.
Like what I told David and Paula was, this is their summer vacation.
Yeah.
You say, you or somebody else might say, oh, we're going to go here for a holiday. Well, this is their entire summer is their holiday vacation. You know what I mean? So they take ownership of the place, and I hate to say we don't do much, but as far as it goes, we don't have to do very much to maintain a wonderful campground because of our campers.
So do you mow everything, or do they have? Do people do their own stuff around their campsite, or?
Well, yeah, every campsite is responsible for their own.
Okay.
So we mow the perimeter.
Mow the
park,
okay.
The common areas,
Yeah.
So
I noticed when I drove through there once that a lot of folks have the little 8x10 sheds or whatever they are, those storage sheds that they've got behind their unit, and you've got them strapped down. They have like a cargo strap that runs from, and they're usually staked on one side and staked on the other, and there's a reason
there's
I believe that
windmills out here.
Yeah.
That wind does not stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they staked down? Was that something that you had them do, or that's how it was before?
That's how it was.
They said this is maybe they figured it out themselves. It's not like
They've lost a few sheds.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, the first year we were here, the Dre show came through, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
On site A, we had a camper tip over.
Oh wow.
Blew over. Yeah. Camper was in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh really?
He was in it. Oh yeah.
Was he okay?
He was okay. He was okay.
That's good. It's
Yeah,
like one of those YouTube videos.
He was bruised up pretty good, but yeah, it tipped it right up on the side. And,
wow.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see those like fail videos or whatever, and then you see this terrible accident or whatever, and then they put on their no one was harmed.
Right.
I was like, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know that? Like,
yeah.
You know, I guess. I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do that. But that guy he was fine.
He was okay.
Good.
It was a good thing. He said he wasn't going to keep the camper.
Uh-huh.
So his wife said, we're not going to get another one. He was there on work. So, yeah, when she came down, she says, you're done camping.
Oh, really?
She says, we're done. Yeah. Insurance, they totaled it. So,
yeah.
He says, yeah, I guess I'm done.
Well,
that was it.
Opened up another spot, filled it right back up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
you guys do special things for your campers too. You have, I know you do. Do you do fireworks?
We do the fireworks. We do. Yeah. We hire a gentleman from town.
Yeah,
Dwayne. Yeah.
Okay.
He is. I don't know what his title is. Engineer. I think electrical engineer, perhaps.
Okay.
For the city of Forest City.
All right.
Cancun. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's on a heck of a show.
Okay.
Yep. He's been doing that for many years. He did that for David and Paula, and I don't know how long it goes back, but we're very happy to be able to keep him.
Yeah. I think Lauren did it too. I know that it's been great for me.
Oh yeah.
I was like, hey, look.
Just look out the windows.
Free fireworks show. I don't have to go anywhere.
It's huge.
And it is. It's really good.
Big show.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of crop is growing. When it's the bean field, it's great. And when it is corn, it can be, even though it's high up in the air, it's a little different elevation. So yeah. It's better when the beans are in the field instead of corn.
Right. Yeah.
Iowa corn's so high.
Well, yeah. Now we have activity committee.
Okay.
Ground, and they put on everything. They line up different, musicians, food trucks, games, weekend things. So there's always something to do most weekends.
People have to entertain themselves, and they do for the most part.
Yeah, you're camping.
Yeah.
What do you need to really be doing? You're on the lake.
Yeah.
It's the weekend. Relax. Catch some fish. There's some big fish.
Are there?
Oh, yeah.
Keep it stocked.
Well, we haven't stocked yet, but we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some big fish. I can't tell you because then people are going to try to sneak out there.
Yeah. Got to watch out for that.
But yeah, it's plenty of activities,
Yeah.
People busy. But
yeah, it's different. It's a different lifestyle. The camping, it's funny because, my wife's been selling RVs for 30 years and we don't have an RV. And as far as, like tent camping and whatever, I feel like I did that pretty well in the Army and kind of got a feel for it.
Yeah, I'm not about that life.
Yeah.
No more.
It is interesting to me that some of the folks that you have at the campground, they really don't live that far away. They're maybe just a few miles. They might have a house in town, and then they come out, and that's where they spend a good portion of their summer is out in the camper.
Yeah,
and that's it's interesting. It's not something that I'm interested in necessarily, but it is interesting. I mean, it's good if that's what makes folks happy. That's awesome.
Well, it's an inexpensive lake house.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, and you like your neighbors. Yeah. For the most part, I assume everybody gets along.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
That's good. You get your whatever.
How many you have? We talked about your daughter, but do you have?
We have two.
We have
two. We had our second one.
Yeah.
So we have Cordelia, who's 4,
and
now we have Amelia, who is coming up on 2.
All right.
Yeah. So
What do they think about this?
they catch toads every day.
Okay.
Cordelia caught a salamander the other day.
Nice.
She's catching snakes.
Good.
We're barefoot.
Yeah.
The girls and I are barefoot until it snows practically.
That's amazing.
And
Except when you're picking up flax bales, I noticed.
Yeah. We get a little needles jabbing into my feet. That wasn't cool. But no, we ride our golf carts to work.
Yeah.
And I mean, it truly is a dream come true for us.
Yeah.
We're outside every day. Cordelia and Amelia are both fisher women.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy it, and that's awesome.
They like to fish. They catch critters. It's barefoot most of the time.
Yeah.
Running around the place, having a great time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It is.
That's a childhood, and they're going to grow up doing some chores around the family business.
Yes.
You got them working already?
Not so much. They're not really reliable,
Right? Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. What's the what? I mean, that's it. Did you achieve? I guess what you were hoping that it would be 3-4 years ago? 3-4 years ago now. I guess you're thinking, I spent this time with my daughter. I don't want to go back to what I was doing before. Let's buy a campground.
Well, yeah. So when I came and visited with David and Paula, it was October.
Okay.
Right. And I think it was the weekend that they were getting ready to close down. So that was my first interaction with them. It was freezing cold, not a leaf on the tree. Mm-hmm. And I could see it. I was like, this is it. This is a good place.
Yeah.
And I can see us being here.
Yeah.
And I said to Denise, we can either wait until next October to take ownership, or we can do everything possible to buy this right, and move before the beginning of the season. And let me tell you, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, we had, a 7-acre home site in St. Peter. That was my grandparents' that I purchased, right? And I was there for 6 years. So 6 years, you can accumulate a lot of stuff, especially when you have big sheds and big buildings that are wide open.
Yeah, I'm
need to be filled.
Aware. Yeah,
right. You see something, I need that. I have room for it. I need it.
Right.
So we ended up. It was a lot of work, and I was working still full time through the process. So it was a struggle, but ultimately, we couldn't be happier. Really,
yeah. Well, you had an acreage before, so that's 7 acres. I've always said that when you are an owner of an acreage, you really are the mayor of your own town, because you're the water department, the parks department, the electrical department, your maintenance for everything, all of this stuff, and you make all those decisions. And there's no one going to help you. Like you're kind of on your own in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so if you got to move snow, you got to have the equipment to do that. And I think that's part of the daunting task, I guess. If you live in the country and on acreage, you suddenly have to have equipment to do stuff. You got to be able to mow a lot more and move that snow. But you had that experience and you had some of that equipment, I assume. So that came in now you actually are the mayor of a small town. It's got 100 kids in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's good.
It's so that you were trained to be throughout your from 17 on, you have been working towards, in an interesting way, of building a village and being able to really see the fruits of your labor and enjoy it for the next many years.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Pass it on to the girls, hopefully, and let them run.
You're like the new Lauren.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Right?
You'd be like 80 years old out there in your golf cart with 3 fingers of whiskey.
Something, right? Yeah.
Riding around.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
hey, everybody.
dream.
That's great.
That's the dream.
Well, it's awesome that you're there and that you're a neighbor for us. We just think that it looks great out there. It's fun that people are out there. The fireworks are great. I mean, I would never know. That's, sometimes we don't know that there's a campground there. I mean, so granted, it's half mile away, but at night, sometimes I can go out and I'll take the dog out and we'll walk, and I can hear people laughing, and on a weekend, and they're having a good time, and stories are being told, and that makes me very, very happy. I'm happy that that's happening, and that the people are
good noise.
It's great noise, absolutely, and I like still that it's half mile away too. Like I'm still a very fairly. It's fine. I have a podcast, so how private can I be? But I like, like I like the elbow room, and I love being. So that's good. That's good neighbors, and just seeing the fun things that are happening over there without really ever being too aware that it's even there. So I got to imagine that there's a waiting list.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
When we took over, we actually had 5 pages.
Wow.
Worth of, and I think it was over 3 years that people had been on that list. So doing that expansion, we were able to fill it with a lot of people from that list, and we've chiseled it down, and now we're starting a new list.
Okay.
So it's good.
Well, it's probably easier. I don't know if you had to go to the bank, but it's probably easier if you did have to go to the bank and say, listen, we want 22 more sites, and I mean, we got 5 pages of people that want to do it. So that's a no-brainer. Yeah. It's a very interesting business, and I love what you're doing over there. And I like to see if you drive by on A42 west of Forest City, we call it the Bancroft Road. I hear people in Bancroft call it the Forest City Road, but we're talking about the same road. In between the 3rd and the 4th curves, you're going to find those are the only curves. There's 4 curves on that entire road, and in between the 3rd and the 4th, you're going to find Three Fingers Campground, and that's and you're going to see a now mowed and baled flax field, and you've got some wildflowers growing on the other half of that field.
It's 2.5 acres of CRP now.
Yeah, which is
next
pretty
to
cool.
The dog park that I built there in the front. Yeah.
My wife guessed what that was.
What'd she guess?
She said she guessed it was going to be. She's like, I bet it's a dog park.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, why would that be a dog park? And then it is a dog. So she was right. Right again.
Yeah. Not that you're keeping track.
Oh,
right?
What's the point of keeping track? I mean, so that's pretty cool. And the everything's good as far as the campers are happy campers. Literally is what
happy
you've got.
Campers. That's what we shoot for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
130 camper or 121 24/7. You got to do what you can to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Try.
You don't have to. You don't have to go back to Bagram and build a jail or anything like that. Call some of your old engineer buddies and say, "Listen, I need to build one more jail over here."
Right.
In my
No, we've got a good group of campers.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's great.
It makes the dream better. You know, it's not like work. That's for sure.
No, something to do every day.
Yeah,
and you're always behind, but you get to pick. When and how you work, and if you need to stop, take a break, spend time with the girls, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's what we're here.
So, and your family then from like the Mankato area, they come down. I mean, it's not that far away, so they're stopping by to visit every so often.
Yeah, they come and camp.
Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. My mom and her husband, they come and camp.
Yeah,
and they spend 3-4 days with us and.
Do they camp on the campground?
Yeah.
You got to charge them full, put them on the corner.
We charge them double.
Yeah, a little farther away. They're like, why am I way over here? You're as far away as we could be. Yeah.
Right? No, it's good. And then, same thing, like Denise's side of her family, they all camp too.
Yeah.
When we told everybody, hey, we're going to buy a campground, like, well, you got a place for us?
Really?
I said, well, I'm going to build one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to build you a place for sure.
That's cool.
So we have 2 of our family pods, as we call it.
Yeah.
It's 3 campers to create 1 campsite, right?
Okay.
And we have 2 of the 3 that I built filled with her family.
Nice.
So, and then her brother and sister-in-law are there, and my other cousin are there, and it's, So we've got a really good family support.
That is cool.
Right?
That is cool. And they obviously they support you.
100%.
They think this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Can they believe? And can they go back to Minnesota and be like, yeah, they have campgrounds in Iowa.
Yeah, in Iowa.
They say,
There's-
we're gonna go camping in Iowa.
Right.
Oh, you're going the wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's something.
Any talk to the folks back in Mankato or and check in once in a while?
My boss, whenever we do talk, he tells me that he thinks about me almost daily,
Really?
and he cusses me out weekly, for leaving him. But they all get it.
Yeah.
When I first told him, I said, I'm gonna go buy a campground.
Yeah.
He laughed, and then he stopped and he looked at me, kind of squinted, and he goes, "That actually makes a lot of sense."
Yeah.
He says, of all the reasons people have quit, he says, that makes so much sense.
Right.
So, yeah, when he comes down and visits, he's like, no shoes still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shoes. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. We're spending every bit of time as a family as we can. Because I don't need to tell you, kids grow fast.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not guaranteed 18 years with them either,
Right.
So at 14 or 15, they may, mom and dad aren't that cool anymore.
Well, that's exactly what'll happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is with girls. I mean, maybe Denise can give you some insight on that, but I know for me, with 4 boys, I'm the most amazing person until about 15,
Yeah.
14, 15. And then dad's kind of an idiot.
Well,
That lasts for about 10 years.
sure.
And then they come around their mid-20s again, and then they're happy to...
Then you'd be the cool
yeah,
again.
and you're just like talking to dad all the time again and asking questions, and they're buying their own houses or whatever, like, how do you do this? And same thing that I do. And fortunately, my dad lives right across the road, so it's like, hey, Dad.
Yeah. What do we do about that?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just awesome, and it does go wicked fast. It's that's nothing new there to anybody that's raised kids and seen them grow up. We'll enjoy it. They've got a fantastic place to grow up. You've got a brand new house. There's lots of things that the girls are going to learn on the way as you continue to build and take care of this fine property that you've got in Three Fingers Campground. And then obviously all of the cool stuff that you get to do on a daily basis as you just live and enjoy things with your family, and then to have your extended family be there as often as they are too, and have a place for them to stay and enjoy themselves. That's just the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
Yes.
That's what it ought to be, and that's why we say that that's a pursuit that definitely would make just about anybody happy. Certainly seems to have done that for
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. We're happy.
Well, John, anything else you want to tell my listeners all over the country? I don't know why they listen, but they do, and I appreciate all of our listeners for tuning in every week and being a part of the sunny side of life. Anything you want to share with the folks?
No, I think we got her.
We got it covered.
Got it. Yeah.
Very good.
Pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
Well, it's obvious that you've had that you are taking the opportunity to be the sunny side of your children's life and all of the campers, the happy campers at Three Fingers Campground, and that's what it's all about. And we always tell our listeners every week, whatever you do, wherever you're at, hope you go out and take the time to be the sunny side of somebody else's life.
There you go.
I want to thank all our friends and guests for stopping by for this episode of the Sunny Side of Life. All the Sunny Side of Life players who stopped by, creative support provided every day by my incredible wife Heidi and our fantastic 4 boys. Thanks to every one of our listeners. That means you. A big shout out to my brothers and sisters in uniform holding the line around the world. Share the word, folks. Let the people know what we're up to. Subscribe so you never miss an episode, and follow us on social media. All skits are written or adapted and directed by me, Troy Thompson, and are produced here at Sunnyside Farm Studios and delivered to all platforms by Buzzsprout. Music and sound effects are provided by Soundstripe. The Sunny Side of Life is a weekly production about our life on the family farmstead here in Iowa, the liberties we prize, and the pursuits which make us happy. Now, none of this is possible without Christ in our lives. For the Lord God is our sun and our shield. He gives us grace and glory. So may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may the sunny side of your life, liberty, and pursuits be in Christ, and made evident unto you each and every day, and give you peace.